Testing. Is this thing on? Hello? All right, I'm going to assume that people can hear me. Hello, everyone. Just adjusting a second here, and then I'll be right with you. Yes, I've learned from my past mistakes, Joe Clark. This time I finally managed to make it in a landscape. All right, this is the RPG Pundit, the final boss in Internet Shitlords. And I was not expecting to do another live stream so soon. That wasn't really what I was planning to do with my evening. But there's been events that have happened since my last live stream only a couple of days ago. And man, am I pissed off about it. So what's been going on is this. If you look at the previous live stream I did, you can check that out later on if you haven't seen it yet. There was a huge kerfuffle over the fact that you had James Raggi, publisher of OSR games, who got himself into a big outrage fest from his fellow leftists, really, because he's surrounded himself. I don't know if he's really a leftist, but I mean, he's a moderate, I think, and he's surrounded himself with left-wing people, and they all turned on him because he got his photo taken with Jordan Peterson. And among the people that were outraged by this, or rather, there were the people that were outraged, and there were the people that were acting concerned about this. Concerned, right? They were concerned because they felt that the OSR was full of, oh my God, alt-right Nazis, and that the products were all really toxic products full of right-wing hate, and that this was very troubling, the direction that the OSR was going. It's not that they want to censor us, it's just the direction, you understand, right? And curiously enough, they can never actually point to products that really are what they're talking about, right? Like they claim that there's all this, you know, right-wing propaganda in the OSR, but I don't know a single OSR product that's got right-wing propaganda in it. I mean, seriously, like, where is this coming from? Because they can't point to a single one. I don't know of any. I don't know of any OSR product that has anything even resembling right-wing political influence. I know of a couple that have something vaguely resembling left-wing political propagandizing, but of course they're with that, right? So anyways, one of these people that was deeply concerned about Jordan Peterson, the Jordan Peterson photo that James Raggi took, was a guy named Stuart Robertson. Now, Stuart Robertson is the designer, or apparently was the designer of one of many different, but one of the most popular logos of the OSR. I'm not going to show that logo here because Stuart Robertson has already threatened completely spuriously to try to do a takedown on this video and on anything else I do that includes his logo. And he's even further, you know, completely spuriously threatened to take down anything that presents a new logo that is not at all based on his logo and that he has no legal right to. So if this video does get taken down by YouTube later on, then you're going to have to, well, you'll know what happened, and then we'll see what would be the next step. You know, I'm pretty sure that given that between him and certain other people who are making spurious trademark claims, check out Grim Jim's channel to find out about the loser who made a trademark claim on TSR. Sorry, not on TSR, on D&D Gate. I'm a little distracted here. Who made the claim on D&D Gate, and he has been now filing a bunch of YouTube complaints claiming that people have stolen his trademark. First of all, that's not how trademarks work. You know, you can only make a claim if someone is pretending to misrepresent you. You know, if I was pretending that my product, that Coca-Cola was my product, or that my product was Coca-Cola, then that's something that you can make a trademark claim against. But anyways, he's made the claim. We'll see what YouTube does. So far, they haven't done anything about it. But you know, obviously it'll kind of depend. We can't really trust Google/YouTube to be fair brokers in this. But then we'll see. We'll see what action gets taken, and we'll see what action gets taken if Stuart Robertson tries to take down tries to take down this stream, because he's claiming that somehow this new logo that is not based on his image at all. It isn't made by me, first of all. It's been made by a Mexican artist by the name of sorry, my mind is going here. Geekybugle, there we go. By the name of Geekybugle, who has been inspired in that image with the original image of the TSR logo, which is the same image that Stuart Robertson used as his inspiration. So he has no more claim on this. He has less claim on this image than TSR has on his image, you know. But just to be absolutely covered, I'm not going to show Stuart's image. Not every OSR book has him. In fact, most OSR books don't have his image on them, which only adds to the curiousness of what he said. He said that he's going to, from now on, remove the right that he had placed under Creative Commons, because he put it very much directly under Creative Commons, the right to use that OSR logo for free, and he's now removing that right to anyone that produces hateful or harassing content. That's what he said initially. Okay, so hateful or harassing content. Okay, I mean, we're all against hateful and harassing content, aren't we? That's fine. I agree with you know, being opposed to hateful and harassing content. I agree with that. You know, if you created something, maybe you have a right not to have your stuff being put on content that would be despicable to you. If someone made, a pro-Nazi RPG and put your logo on it, I'd probably say that he was in the right. But we all know that's not what he's doing here. Because first of all, he couldn't point to a single OSR product that exemplifies a problem that he thinks is endemic enough for him to make this statement, right? Not one. There's not one OSR product that will do that, right? And then, of course, he went on to suggest that, you know, stuff that is less than hateful or harassing will be something that he'll act against if the person who wrote it, their politics don't agree with them. So now, at first he was acting all reasonable in the thread where he made this announcement, and then when he repeatedly failed to show what it was, what OSR game, what D&D based game, in fact, it has hateful or harassing right-wing content or any other wing content, he started getting increasingly angry. And then, of course, when I said, okay, that's fine, let's not use your logo, let's make a new one, and let's make a new one that is, you know, absolutely inclusive and absolutely respectful of free speech, and one that is for everyone, since you have so many problems with it. And he lost his shit. That's when he just went completely batshit and started with basically raving on his own threads. And he immediately said that he removes my right to ever post anything, to ever use his image. Again, I didn't I didn't really use his image, but he removes my right forever to use his image, even though none of my games have harassing content in them, right? I mean, Dark Albion has no important sexual content. It has no examples of violence against women. It doesn't have anything about, that is offensive to LGBT people. And Arrows of Indra is pretty much one of the wokest OSR games ever made. It was the first, not just the first OSR game, it was the first role-playing rule book to feature a heroic trans character on the cover. It has open discussion about transgender characters in the context of Indian history and myth that is completely positively displayed. It doesn't have anything derogatory against them. You literally, if you play it by the book in Arrows of Indra, you cannot play a white person in this game, right? It's a game where you can only play Indians, well, and some non-humans, but that's it, right? Like, so it's pretty much there. I would be hard pressed to think about a more woke OSR game than Arrows of Indra, and yet he has now declared that he will take legal action against me if I ever use his OSR logo because of my hateful products, right? It's just ridiculous. So anyway, this is what we're dealing with here, right? He's gone out of his way to want to withdraw the right, a Creative Commons right that I think people in good faith, people who put the stuff on their products in good faith, had reason to believe would never be withdrawn. He's withdrawn it. And he's made it in sufficiently vague terms. Actually, well, he started out making it in sufficiently vague terms that you would not be sure, you'd never be able to be certain that your product wouldn't be something that he'd find hateful or harassing, right? Because he refused to express what that meant. But now he's made it very obvious, right? I mean, now the mask is off. He directly said it to me, even though none of my games have anything in them that could be thought of as the least bit hateful or harassing, he's withdrawn my right to use his logo, his stupid logo that I never use. In fact, I don't publish any of my own games, right? So I've never used any logo or done anything as a publisher. But okay, maybe he doesn't know this. But he's withdrawn my right to use his logo. Okay, fine. But he's done this not for anything in the material I've published. He's done this because he politically disagrees with me. So I got to thinking, and not just me, other people were saying it too, that well, we really shouldn't do that. We shouldn't put his logo on the stuff anymore, obviously, right? Because nobody can ever be safe that way. Nobody can ever be 100% sure. I mean, sure, if you're, an extremely progressive SJW, odds are you'll be okay. But then again, you never know. Stuart Robertson might decide to have a personal beef with you and withdraw his permission. So we said, well, we're going to need a new logo, right? And there's this Mexican gamer, YouTuber. His name's Geekybugle, and he said, I'm going to make one. And he designed this logo that is inspired by the original TSR logo, just like Stuart's was, but has no inspiration and uses no derivation whatsoever from Stuart's logo. He said, well, here we go. And we decided that it would be a really good idea to make it very clear that we are not about being exclusionary or anything like that, to use the rainbow colors on the logo, right? To make it clear, first of all, because the rainbow colors stand for freedom, they stand for personal freedom, they stand for diversity, they stand for inclusion, they stand for free speech. You might not think that recently, but if you were involved in the gay rights movement in the 80s and in the 90s, then you would know that they stood for that flag stands for free speech, right? It stands for inclusion. It stands for being included in in activities within all levels of society, right? So I think that that's a very good symbol for us to use. And it's a symbol that'll be very good for us to use because it'll take it away from the people who are using it exactly for the opposite purpose, who are using it to be uninclusive. All right? So with this logo, what we're saying is we want everyone to game. We only care that you game. We don't care if you're gay, if you're straight. We don't care if you're black or if you're white. We don't care if you're a man, a woman, or identify as an alien. We don't care about anything about your identity. We just care that you game. That's the message, okay? And this is a way to present a united front, to show that we are inclusive, to show that we are in favor of free speech, and to make the other side absolutely lose their shit, because that's what's going to happen. If we all put OSR logos with the rainbow on them in our products, then what we're saying is we welcome everyone. What we're also saying is you assholes don't get to try to use that to stop us from producing games because you don't like our politics. It's both things, right? Because unlike them, who don't actually care, we do care. They don't actually care about the minorities they claim to represent. They don't actually care about the games that they claim to be worried about. And they certainly don't care about, intellectual honesty. But we do. At least I hope everybody who will use this will. And I know that there's some people who are there are probably some legitimately alt-right people out there or what have you. They're like, I'm not going to use no rainbow, right? Well, okay, fuck you. We don't need you either, right? Don't use it if you don't want to use it. But the idea behind it is one that says, yeah, it's gonna piss off every possible extremist. What better result than that, right? Let's piss off everyone. Let's piss off all of the extremists on the far left and on the far right who are trying to politicize this game, right? So that's basically in a nutshell. The image is on, well, I posted on my blog. We'll see. I'm sure people will post it elsewhere. Geekybugle has it in an SVG format, and this logo will be freely available in perpetuity for anyone to use, and for anyone to use for any product that is an OSR product, right? And I believe Geekybugle, he'll have to answer that, but he's defining that as anyone who uses it on a book that they believe is an OSR product. The point is that it's a logo you can use to show that you only care about the game, and to make sure that your product will not later be subject to a complicated and are now willing to play grotesque legal games in order to try to get their way, to try to silence people. So this is what they're doing. What we're doing is intended to be the opposite. It's intended to be creating an open space based on free speech where anybody is welcome to gain. SR2 Joker says there should be a stipulation to use the logo. You must actually play games to use it. Well, if you're designing a game, you've probably played a game at some point, right? I mean, I would assume so. And anyways, what the whole idea is not to put stipulations on it, because here we have a guy who basically did take backsies because the wrong person in his mind won an election, right? because evil people have voted for the orange man, so now he's going to to fuck up an entire hobby, right? So this is what, you know, this is the reason why we're doing this, is to create an alternative that will be open for everybody. Joseph Bloch says, I am bi as well and hate that folks think I need a hero to save me. Well, yeah, absolutely right there. I'm reading a few of the comments here because I think I've made the core of my point at this point now. I've said everything I think I need to say about this, excepting that, I mean, obviously these guys aren't going to, well, I don't think they're going to let up. So, you know, this is, from my point of view, they want to try to play these games. Well, you know, the response to that will be, we'll see what YouTube and other hosts do, because it's completely spurious bullshit, right? What they're trying to do. These supposed attacks are based on, you know, illegitimate trademark claims and illegitimate copyright claims. And if they persist in this, and if they get any traction in this, then I suppose that the next step would be maybe a class action lawsuit or something like that, because you know, what you could do is point out that these were fraudulently made objections that have negatively affected the work of the people that get that are being targeted for political reasons by these fraudulent attacks. And so, you know, I suppose that the answer would be to organize, to do some kind of crowdfunding, get some legal backing, you know, hire some kind of really good lawyer. Maybe we'll talk to Jeremy Hambley about that or something. Promote the crap out of it, make all of ourselves more well known for it, because that's always what happens when they attack us like this. It just makes us more famous. So, you know, if that's the plan, then let's play ball, you know, by all means move, right? I'll be very glad to be your huckleberry. And then we'll see what happens. Of course, I would prefer to live a peaceful existence playing OSR games. And you know, I would prefer it if we could all be seeing things from the same side, right? Seeing that the thing that matters is the game. We don't want to discriminate against anyone. We don't want to kick anyone out of the hobby. We, you know, if this was something that was in good faith and there was really a problem, that's the most grotesque thing about what Robertson has done, is that if somebody published a game that was, yeah, Ben says, just when he thinks he's out, they pull RPG Pundit back in. That's right, Ben. But the grotesque thing he's done is that if there was somebody, let's say, I don't know, a complete shitbag like Varg Vikernes tried to make a game with that OSR logo, you know, a game that was very obviously full of dog whistles for his racist ideology, then you would have had everyone agreeing and everyone supporting Stuart in this. We'd have all been behind him on it. We would have all said, yeah, okay, this is the, you know, except for the tiny group of personal fans that some, you know, real, you know, genuine alt-right Nazi could have, everybody else would have been in agreement, right? We would have all understood, and we would have all spoken out against it, right? We would have all spoken out against any of the sort of discrimination that he's pretending to be concerned about and that he's been inventing in his narrative. But instead, by doing what he's done now, he's created an environment where it becomes increasingly difficult to do that, right? Because he's now accusing people that he has no basis to accuse, and he's going on with dirty tricks, you know, about using false claims, what amounts to a kind of fraud, right? And he's doing all this just for purely political reasons. And it only further divides gamers instead of, you know, coming together under the idea of, you know, we only care that you game, right? That's the only thing we should care about. And we should be open to everyone. And instead you get people who try to make these kind of identity politics divisions on both sides, trying to divide people further because it serves their purposes. It serves the left's purposes because they get to continue the airing of of alleged grievances that they profit from. It serves the far right's purpose because they want to present this as some kind of a race war or something like that. And in the process of these two groups that don't actually care about this hobby or many other hobbies, because this is being repeated everywhere in the culture, right? While they're doing this, while they're creating this divisiveness, what suffers is the hobby itself. The hobby gets destroyed by people like Vard Vikernes and Stuart Robertson, right? By these people that are making this divisiveness instead of bringing people together under the game. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to actually bring up a bunch of conversation on the chat about that, you know, piece of shit Vikernes, but anyways, this is what I came on to talk about. The images are in PNG format on my blog right now. I'm sure we'll get them in better format. If you want them right away, I guess get in touch with Geekybugle. And yeah, let us know what you think. Meanwhile, if you want to preemptively help my future legal defense against these fraudulent attacks on me, be sure to support me on Patreon. If you don't like Patreon, you can always go to my blog, and there's a PayPal button. So help me out against these people that want to try and shut me down for purely political reasons and are willing to lie to hosting companies to do so. And most of all, subscribe and share this video. Share it anywhere that you think people will care about this. Be sure, though, if you subscribe, you hit that notification button, and be sure you keep checking to make sure you're still subscribed, because sometimes YouTube is funny, if you know what I mean. We'll have to see how things go. If you see several of my videos disappear in the next 48 hours or so, then, well, don't worry. We will keep at it. There's no way to stop this. As Dave Pettit just said here, keep at it, pundit. Slowly a resistance of good conscience and common sense is gathering. And you're absolutely right. There's more and more responses. It used to be that I felt like, you know, just one guy against the mobs. But there's more and more people that are that are taking the courage to stand up to these guys. And like I said in my last live stream, and it's repeated just now, you know, I had a whole ton of people who sent me private messages and private emails in the last 2 days about stuff that's been going down. And these are people, for the most part, that agree with me, but are too afraid to say it publicly. Stop being afraid of saying things publicly. But remember also what we're about, right? We are, at least what I'm about. You might disagree. We can debate that because we believe in free speech. But what I'm about is making it be about the game, right? Making this all about the OSR, about D&D, about playing the game and welcoming everyone in the game. Paul Smith says, Pundit, you gave me the courage to stand up to the SJW authoritarians. Well, you know, that's that makes me feel very happy. I'm very glad that if I've inspired anyone, then that's lovely. I'd ask that people be very careful. Do not go and harass Stuart Robertson, especially with don't use the dirty garbage tricks that people like him are apparently planning to use, right? Don't do that. We don't need to do that. All we need to expose them, to burn these vampires, is sunlight, right? We just bring things into the open. That's all that's necessary. SR2 Joker says, Pundit, you made me try Vietnamese iced coffee. Well, I'm glad. Or Vietnamese coffee, you said. I don't know if you ice yours or not. You can drink it both ways. And, oh, here comes my cat. I don't know if she's going to get into the shot. I know that people last time were sad that my cats didn't show up. Let me see what we can do here. There's my cat. And she's just passing through, though, it looks like. Here. So anyway, that's it for me. Unless you guys have more questions or comments or other topics that I should talk about tonight, let me know. Let me know future topics if you want for videos. And well, we'll see how things develop from here. We'll keep everyone informed as much as possible, and we're going to talk with other people. Paul Smith, he says, do you have any input on what happened to White Wolf today? I'm not sure what did happen to White Wolf today. You'll have to let me know because I'm not sure. SR2 Joker says, any thoughts on Venger's new pronouns? Well, you know, Venger is a very weird guy. Sorry, he's a very weird person, I should say. And, you know, I don't know. Is it mockery? It could be. It certainly could be. Is it worth, you know, claiming that as the reason why, you know, you're going to remove the OSR logo from, you know, a free and open circulation? No, obviously. At most, you know, in the worst possible scenario, he's engaging in a parody that is slightly in bad taste, without being directly aggressive or attacking anyone or any group. At best, he's, you know, sincere about his trans speciesism, and in that case, I'm sorry, Ja is sincere about Ja's trans speciesism, and you know, like, this is the thing, right? As far as I'm concerned, you don't know what a person is going through, and if someone comes up to me and says, I want you to refer to me in female pronouns, for example, then that's what I'm going to do, because why the hell not? You know, if someone wants me to use that, use a certain type of pronoun or refer to them by a certain type of name, then I'm going to do that. I'm not going to dead name people. I'm not going to, you know, mispronoun people. But I'm going to do that as a choice, right? Kiki Lam says, female pronouns is one thing, silly made-up words are another, to be honest. Well, you know, I find it a little bit more frustrating, the idea that you're going to mangle the English language with new pronouns. I don't have a problem with she, with they. Once you get into invented pronouns and this kind of demand that everyone does them, and if you don't do them, if you forget to do them, then suddenly that means you're evil and will have to be imprisoned or something like that. You know, that's not good. Compelled speech is never, ever good. It doesn't do any good, because it doesn't do any good for anyone, right? The people that would have addressed you the way that you wanted to be addressed would do it anyways, right? And the people that wouldn't, if you're threatening them to do so by the use of violence, financial penalty, or imprisonment, then all you're doing is creating a massive wave of resentment that will probably end up targeting vulnerable people, right? But you know, again, at a personal one-to-one level, I'll probably do my best to refer to people by what they say they want to be referred to. And I believe people when they say what they feel like they are. That's my point of view. I understand that some people might have other points of view. I'll discuss that with people. I'll debate that with people because I believe in free speech. So we'll do all of those things. But I think that there's something to be said for basic kindness, right? That's something very strongly to be said for that. To address people how they feel and by the names that they want. And you know that the people on the left are lying when they're talking about it in these terms, because as soon as it's someone who is against their narrative, they have no problem with that. When Stuart lost his shit, you know, him and all the people on his thread started using names that they believe are, you know, my names in order to basically harass me. You know, if you want to call it doxing or dead naming or whatever, they did that specifically as a way to you know, to attack me and to try to make me feel uncomfortable and to try to threaten me and whatever else. So you know that they don't really mean it. They only mean it, you know, in the sense of it being a useful way for them to virtue signal and a useful way for them to Kafka trap people they don't like. Whereas I wouldn't do that to someone. You have seen me, if you've read me on Google+, if you've seen me on Twitter, you have seen me get into debates with people who are trans, get into fights with them, you know, people who are trans and who are, you know, SJWs. I also have a lot of friends who are trans that are not SJWs, and quite a few that have been supportive and you know, that are really, you know, great to get along with. But people that are trans that happen to be on the other side of this, you know, of the political spectrum, that have fought with me, they've been mean, they've insulted, whatever. But that, you can be insulting, right? That's also allowed. And I've been insulting back, and I've used aggressive terms. But one thing I never do is I don't misgender them, or I don't try to dead name them, right? That's not something, you know, that I've ever done intentionally. If I ever have, I don't recall. But you will see in the vast majority of interactions I've had, I don't do that, right? Because we want to, because we want to be fundamentally decent to people's individual choices. I'm an individualist. I think that it doesn't hurt me at all if you say that you're a woman, that you're a man, that you're something in between, that, you know, even if you say that you're a, you know, that you're a cat boy, which is maybe why I haven't killed him yet, George. George always comes onto my live streams and asks if I've killed Catboy yet. No, he's not dead yet in my DCC campaign. He'll die when he dies. George says, I'll call you he who must kill Catboy. So yeah, this is my personal feeling, but this is what I believe, that we should be, you know, we should be this way, and they're not this way. And it's unfortunate that we don't reclaim this, because if we're really the ones that are standing for everybody to be involved, and what we're saying is that we don't judge you on your gender, your sex, your sexuality, or the color of your skin, but we judge you only on the content of your character, only on your merit, only on whether or not you play our games. All right? Those are the things that we care about, right? Then let's do that, right? Let's take ownership of that in a way that thwarts their attempts to use that language and use those symbols as, you know, weaponized political tools. Paul Smith says, Pundit, what genres would you like to see more of in the OSR? That's a good question. I guess I would like to see more setting books, mainly setting books of OSR, but with maybe with OSR rules set up in a way similar to how you have Dark Albion and Lion and Dragon for medieval authentic Europe, or how you have Arrows of Indra for epic Indian myth. See other people doing stuff similar to that for other periods or other cultures. I think that would be pretty interesting. I think there's probably still more room for other variations of sci-fi games. We don't need another game that's basically just, you know, a clone of Stars Without Numbers, for example. Stars Without Number, I mean to say. But we could use other, you know, creative, interesting stuff, right? I'd like to see some more of that. An OSR anime and mecha game, says Paul Smith. Yeah, that could be an interesting idea. OSR military themed games. Well, you have OWB which is the OSR game set in World War II, Operation White Box, I think it's called. Yeah, that's a really, really well-designed game that is for playing purely historical adventures of special forces fighting in World War II. Operation White Box, that's it. And that is an awesome game. So if that's what you're looking for, there you are. Ben says, have you created a group on Minds? I am the creator of a group called OSR Minds. And there's also role-playing Minds, which I didn't create, but which is also free speech. So both of those are there. Check them out, join them. I'm sure you'll be able to find it if you look them up. I'm the RPG pundit on Minds. Yeah, you should go there. I've bit the bullet and made an account on MeWe in spite of not really liking it. It's not a good platform for produced creative people to promote their products. No, Minds is not just a Twitter client, Kenny. It's got its own thing, its own program. It's totally, it's very different, and it's actually closer in some ways to Google Plus or to Facebook than to Twitter. It doesn't have any character limits. It allows you to create groups. Anyways, I was saying MeWe, I'm also on there, and I've created a group there called Dungeon Crawl Classics because there was already a group called DCC, but the owner was an SJW who doesn't let people that he knows are not from his own politics into the group. He's the same guy that did that with Google Plus. In spite of people from Goodman Games asking him to stop, he refused. He just kept right on having the site. And so, I decided I'm going to make a group. I'm going to call it Dungeon Crawl Classics. And it's for posting it's completely apolitical. Everybody's welcome. There's no political subjects going on there. It's just for talking about Dungeon Crawl Classics. So get on there. We've already got well over 200 people. Ander says, what's the temperature there? Right now it's about, I think 21, 22 degrees Celsius. Keep in mind that it's almost midnight here. So that's where we're at. The OSR Minds group does not actually have, sorry, Ben said, just check the OSR Minds group and update the logo image. The OSR Minds group does not have the image that Stuart Robertson is talking about. I'm not sure who produced that image though, so you might be right. Maybe I should take that out and replace it with our new image. So I'll do that as quick as I can. Obviously, I can't really get on that right now. Well, George, there are some people that hate MeWe, but there's a lot of people that migrated to MeWe and it seem to be very comfortable there. Kenny, I don't know if Minds has a Palladium group. I'm not active enough in Palladium gaming anymore to really join their groups. I bet there probably would be because, Palladium gamers are such huge fanboys. Excuse me a moment while I fill up a pipe here. That noise you heard was just a dropping bottle. All right, so what was I saying? Right, MeWe, Dungeon Crawl Classics. On Minds, OSR Minds. On Discord, I have no idea. It's not my thing. It just doesn't do it for me. This is basically it, I think. Unless people have other things they'd like to talk about now, but this is my perspective. These things I believe we want to have a gaming that is for everyone, a hobby that's for everyone, an OSR that's for everyone, a D&D that's for everyone, and that doesn't engage in political culture wars. That's it. That's all we want. We only care that you game. SR2 Joker says, I'm trying to get away from the Facebook groups. Well, that's very sensible, actually. You should try to get away from the Facebook groups. I don't think Facebook is a very good format at all for RPG talk. I've never been very active there. So, yeah, that's heartily recommended that you get away from the. I would strongly suggest people check out Minds. I really like Minds. I don't know if it'll end up winning the, successor wars. I don't know. Also, you saw what happened with BitChute just this week, where PayPal cut off BitChute. Brian Harris says, solve all that by joining the RPGsite.com. Yes, you're right. They're one of the best free speech places to talk about anything to do with gaming. We don't care that you're right wing, that you're left wing. We don't care what your political bent is. You can even come in there, and there's a forum where you can talk about story games. You can talk even in the main forum about actual role-playing games that I don't like. It's probably one of the only forums, RPG discussion forums, where I've had people repeatedly swear in my face as the administrator, and they don't get banned, right? It takes an awful lot to be banned from the RPG site. But some people have, of course, done it. And when they do it, they end up getting petty revenge fantasies in their heads forever, which is what we're seeing right now. Yes, PayPal cut off BitChute, Flying Axeblade. That was a big piece of news about 2 days ago, I think. And, this is absolutely nothing other than racketeering, right? This is basically a, something that needs to be brought up on antitrust laws, right? Because they're essentially, they've created a little pact that any competitors to their big sites, like, the robber barons and the oil barons have nothing on these motherfuckers in Silicon Valley, right? Like, they're just unbelievable. So I think it's only a matter of time. I think it's only a matter of time before you end up seeing something like that being used against Minds or against MeWe. We already know what happened with Gab, right? It's just unbelievable, right? Like these guys they're using politics as a justification, but a lot of it is also to hold on to their market share, right? It's cheaper to just shut down other companies than to buy them, because that was their old, plan, was buy them out. Buy them out at least is something that is less smarmy, right? But to have them, shut out in these ways, in order to maintain the monopoly of the tiny group of companies that control the vast majority of the internet, is very disturbing. It's especially disturbing because at the same time, the people that run those companies are using those companies for propaganda and to politically silence messages that they don't like. Kenny Johnson says, some of us get banned from the RPG site and are totally okay and happier after. I'll admit, Kenny, that you're not one of the people, at least that I remember. It's hard to remember because there are these people that are like, this is the life of the RPG pundit, okay? There are people that I'm writing there on my blog or on Google Plus or on Twitter or something, and then there's some guy that's like, aha, pundit, I'm coming at you again, take this, aha, you son of a bitch, and whatever, right? And I have no idea who they are, right? The moment that I either banned them or insulted them somewhere on social media was to them the most important moment of their online lives, and to me, I literally don't know who they are. No, I know, Kenny, that you were Larry there, and yeah, I don't think that you've tried to go at me to show me, teach me a lesson, but some people certainly do, and sometimes they're quite annoying about it, like people that trademark hashtags. Raving Bean says we need a PayPal alternative. Yeah, we do need PayPal alternatives, and people push cryptocurrency, but that's complicated, right? If you don't have, the problem is that you've got to have something that makes it really easy for people to give money from a credit card, from a bank, or something like that to a cause. and not having to like buy Bitcoin or something like that in between. Because frankly, I mean, I'll be, you know, I'm not ashamed to admit that I'm not, you know, I'm probably geriatric compared to some of you guys, but I'm not that old. I have no, I wouldn't have the slightest idea how to do the Bitcoin, right? I might be a lot less technologically competent than a lot of you too. But this is the thing, right? Like you can't, you know, their goal is for us all to end up on the deep web at most, and then to shut that down somehow, right? And to create an internet that is completely controlled, that is completely restrained and restricted, so that they are the only ones that get the message out, and then use that for social engineering. That's their plan. That's what they want to accomplish. And we need to make sure that that's not what actually ends up happening. We have to be able to own the middle ground. We need to be able to own the center of, you know, the center of the town hall, right? The town square, whatever you want to call it. That's very important, and that's another part of what this logo, this OSR logo designed by Geekybugle, is meant to represent. You know. It's meant to represent that we're not some kind of radicals. We're absolutely in the middle ground. We don't want identity politics dividing the hobby. We just want everybody to game. Flying Axeblade seems excited that my cat was scratching her ear. You know, every time these cats get on here, I get more views. So I'm glad that this time she decided to make an appearance. They're a lot more popular than I am, I think. All right, so we've been at this for almost an hour now, and I think it's probably time to wind down. I've made my message clear. I think probably a lot of people who were watching, well, I don't know. We still seem to have about as many people watching as when I started, so that's quite the accomplishment. This is what I stand for, what I believe. If you stand for the same, if you want it to be about the game, and if you want to make sure, if you're a producer of RPG products or a blogger or whatever, and you want to make sure that people don't jump onto and try to shut down your media, at least not with a legitimate claim, because if they try to shut this down, it'll be with a completely illegitimate claim where they're trying to falsely claim that this is their intellectual property when it isn't. Like I said, TSR has a bigger claim over Stuart Robertson's image than Stuart Robertson has over this image, which is not based on his at all. It's based on, you know, it's inspired by the TSR image. So if you want to do this, if you want to have something that is an OSR logo that won't be something that somebody like Stuart will hijack for political purposes, then feel free to use it. Please go for it. We want that. We want everybody to use it. We want to be the ones sending a message of unity while they're the ones that are being divisive. That's the goal. All right, gentlemen. My cat is no doubt wishing you all a good evening. And so do I. Oh, be sure to check us out. I mean, I might make another video between now and then. I probably will at some point next week. And you know, who knows what else is going to happen in the next few days that might force me to make a video. But be sure to check out Inappropriate Characters on Sunday, the 25th of November. It'll be the Venger Satanis birthday special. We'll probably talk about Venger's new supposed identity there. And we'll see. We'll see what's going on with that. So don't miss that when it happens. You can already mark the date on your calendar. And again, if you want to help me out, if you want to be supportive of my my videos, you want me to make more videos, you want to make more live streams like this, please support me on Patreon or support me on PayPal. You can get to the PayPal button through my blog. The links are all in the description. And yeah, if you want to help me out, I'll make more videos. And if if you help me out, some of that might end up being used later for having to make some kind of legal restitution if people are making false claims against me, because the whole thing here is really just a threat to try to get people to back down, and I don't think we're going to back down. I think we're going to, that because it's stuff that's been done against multiple people. If it goes anywhere, if YouTube doesn't quite correctly laugh them out of the complaints department, as it were, then rest assured that I will be trying to do everything possible to make some kind of class action about it, because you can't be allowed to pervert law in this way just for political purposes. So, okay, support me. Check out the RPG site. Check out Inappropriate Characters on the 25th. And be sure to share this video, to share any of my videos that you like, and to subscribe. Because one of the best ways you can help me out is by subscribing. I want to thank everyone who's already subscribed. I believe we are now over 580 subscribers, which is great. And, that's also part of the freak out on the other side, is that the more successful you get, the more freaked out they are. The more freaked out they are, the more they do stupid things, which then makes us more successful. So it's kind of a cycle. But I'd rather be successful for talking about interesting things and not necessarily because of stupid things that these people are doing. I'd rather be doing more videos about how, people are not DMing the right way, in the Well, that was a bit of an accident there. It's all right, though. We got it. I guess that's my that's my moment to sign off. I was trying to focus on the cat, and I dropped my phone, but everything's okay. So, this is the RBG Pundit, currently smoking near a hawk bill with Image Virginia, and we'll see you soon.